Hello, everybody. My name is Brendan Willis, and this is the Freight Operations Management System, or FOMS for short. Once again, I'm a solo dev, and this is my project, managing freight, shipping, and all the parts that involve warehouse. And yes, this is what I'm working on. Let's see, where is my? There we go. Uh, my status report for this week overall, I believe I'm back on track. I've got some things figured out. I've been quite busy recently. I'm taking calculus at the same time. It is really delving cutting into the time I want to spend working on my senior project, unfortunately. But I did work a total of 9 weeks, 9 hours this week, bringing my total hours to date up to 52, leaving the estimated amount of hours left being 55. As for last week's accomplishments, I removed Tailwind from my app, and I switched to Bootstrap. Bootstrap, it is already working. It is great. I love Bootstrap. It is exactly what I need. It works great. And then I was able to figure out some more of her errors. I had some Prisma mismatched errors. Prisma is my database, and so I was throwing some arguments that were not being properly received, and I also removed some redundant code. As for next week's goals, what I want, I'm working on my logins. I have some parts of them working properly. It's still kind of bare bones. I need to get my sessions user function working properly, and as well as getting some server side redirects to enable role restrictions, meaning that the shipper is only able to access the shipper. Oh, excuse the spelling error there. To access the shipper, so the shipper cannot access the admin, because an admin has all power, and the shipper, his password and account only have access to what he's over. As for the this week's Sped Talk Insights, I watched a video about the development process of using React Native. I enjoy React Native. Um, I have been part of some dev teams in other projects that use React Native. I didn't really focus on using it myself, but the what I learned from this, I had no idea that the app process was so straightforward. I thought it was a lot more complex than I was led to believe. I found it quite insightful. Moving on now. Some challenges and blockers I've had. It's mostly just spelling errors, I guess. Well, I don't know spelling errors. There were some environment and project structure issues that I had to fix, like getting my npm run dev to work properly. That was a problem. Messing up arguments with my Prisma schema. I I always end up throwing a wrench into a situation that was fine before I got involved. Like I said, I had redundant code. I'd made two folders that kind of awkwardly handled the same role, and what I just condensed them into one, fixed the problem, and that is much better. As for this week's question for the instructor, I was thinking about this, and what I really wanted to know is what have you done when you have realized you have written redundant code and you don't want to get rid of it? Or if you do want to if you have to get rid of it, what is something you like to do? Because what I did was I think I went about it the best way, but in finding the best of both worlds and condensing it into a new uh little folder. And also another thing I'd like to say is thank you for your insight into debugging last week. I was already excuse me, I was able to find a solution to my problem, and when I read your comment, it actually kind of it made me understand better of what I ought to do in the future to avoid just fiddle farting around too much on a problem that ought to just be removed entirely and then redone. Um, yeah. Anyways, moving on. As for this week's demo, I can show you some code. There we are. So, um, we have let's see here. There's still some little errors, but we don't mind those right now. I have working currently on my shipper, and I want to show what it does. So I'm going to run our npm run dev. We're going to open our local host. All right. Boom, Bootstrap is working. We have a page. This is great. Now there's some things that are, you know, done being worked on. Like if we go to a dashboard, there's nothing there. But if we go to login, we already have a shipper at forms.com and the password that I had for him. Um, if we go in here, we can see I have already made a reference, but let's make a new one. So let's do ref 98 50049 or 489. And we're going to do an origin of, let's see, Lubbock, Lubbock, Texas. I don't know if that's how you spell Lubbock. And the destination, we want to go to Orem, Utah. All right. Now I'm going to create this new shipment. And boom, here we have our reference number. We have our origin, our destination, and when it was created. So there is this is what our shipper dashboard is going to look like. Now I'm going to get it so when this is created, it's going to notify the admin that it has been processed, and it is going to create the driver task or the route for the driver as to I was going to get to from Texas to Orem, Utah. So it's going to take it to the shipper in our origin to the shipper in the destination, and then it'll go on like that. But that is the brunt of what I have so far. Yeah, that is not working. So we just go back here, and yeah, that is this is the most of what I have to share. Everything else that I've been working on is not really something that I can share. But thank you all for your time and watching, and I hope you have a good one.